As you know, I never know. I just like play these songs in my head, and then I go, okay, all right.
No, I'm serious.
I knew
Because
it
I
couldn't have
always
been
think
that long.
this is gonna be the time that he screws up, but it never is. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Do you remember that song from Seven Mary Three?
No, I mean I remember that it exists. I couldn't sing along to it.
It was around in the early mid '90s when those kind of songs were like a thing.
Yeah.
Like, grunge was all the
Very
rage.
very Pearl Jammy.
Yeah, when I got to LA, that first Pearl Jam album was hitting. And
Yeah.
the first thing I found, two things happened the month I moved to LA. Howard Stern came to the West Coast, and I listened to that every morning. And there was something on called Pirate Radio. It was an
Oh
offshore pirate
yeah.
radio. They put billboards up, and I went, "Ooh, I've always heard of pirate radio. Now I'm in a place where there's pirate radio. Like they were offshore somewhere, like on a
Yep.
barge,
Yep.
and they were playing grunge, right? And I know K Rock and all that was playing grunge and all that, but grunge was like the new thing. Hair bands were now kind of out,
Oh,
and
over.
you had to look like a lesbian trucker if you wanted to sing music. You had to have flannel shirt
Yeah.
and not comb your hair, right?
Yeah.
That
A
was the
lot of
deal.
a lot of black eyeliner in either like brown lipstick or no lipstick.
Well, that's if you were a chick, right?
Yes.
Because at the same time that grunge was going on, you had Lilith Fair got underway.
I have been to so many Lilith fairs, I can't even count.
Oh, we used to
Does
play
that sound about
Lilith
right?
Fair songs on this show like all the time, me, Anna and me. Um,
Like the Cranberries, Indigo Girls, Ani DeFranco, all of them.
well, no, we didn't do the Ani DeFranco. If they had too much hair under their arms, we didn't go for it. Um,
But you did Zombie, 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 eh, Cranberries. Everybody
yeah,
knows that.
yeah, yeah, that kind of stuff. We also there's that one where the girl goes, she whispers at the beginning of the song, "If you
Little fish, big.
77 Chevy, if the beds of love in the shade." And what's her
Is that
name?
Liz? Is that Liz Fair?
No, no, it's
Oh,
Paula Cole or something.
Paula Cole.
Paula
There was
Cole.
another whisper one.
Yeah.
Little fish, big fish swimming in the water. That was like a thing they did.
Yeah, it was like chicks doing that. And of course, at
Yeah.
the same time, look, I said in the early 90s, if a chick invited me in after a date and they put on what was it? Help me out.
I'm
It was
dying to
like
know.
it was almost cathedral music. Um
Oh, I know. It's with like the Gregorian chanting.
It, it's like, oh, I'm getting late tonight. Whenever they put that on, it was like, oh, tonight's the night.
That's I will scream it no matter what we're talking about in the middle of the show because I know
Yeah,
exactly what
whenever
song
you
that it is.
whenever you remember what it is, because half the audience right now is yelling.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. It's not mass. It's not Massive Attack.
no, no,
It's the
no,
other
no,
one.
no, no. It was almost this chanting kind of.
Yes, I can hear it. I know
Me
it.
too.
I
I'm
know.
playing it in my head. I got the beat and everything. Um, oh, the name just went through my head and just went out again.
Ah, grab it.
Oh,
Grab it.
look at my tongue,
Was
Gina.
it? Oh, was it Enigma?
Enigma. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
Am I
Thank
am I
God.
right or
Yes.
wrong? If
You
if it
are
was early
100%
90s
right.
and some chick invited you in after a date for coffee or
Oh,
a nightcap or whatever, and she put
you're
on
staying over.
Enigma, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you could just
you're
start
staying.
telling her what you want for breakfast. Yeah, because that was going to happen.
You're so right.
And I don't know why that was a thing.
Because back then, and I was in what high school, it was like it was sexy. It was like ambient background music that we were really into. I remember it very Enigma. It was wall to wall Enigma after like 9 p.m. at night.
Yeah, and look, I'll play a little bit for the audience at the end of the show, but I still get somewhat of a Pavlovian thing when I hear Enigma.
Oh God. The last thing I thought I would know today, that Vinny's pants get a little tight when he hears Enigma.
Oh, they get very tight.
Okay. That was not on my bingo card, as they say.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't have been.
No.
All right, so Gina, as you know, Mike Rowe, I was on Mike Rowe's show again.
Yes.
When was that? Last week. And even probably more so than the first time I was on. Man, people are really grabbing, because I think the first time they're like, oh, Mike Rowe had this whack job on or whatever. I don't know. This time, the influx of people, they're telling me over at Vinnie Tortorich's NSNG group, tons of people. I've seen a number of people who have grabbed the PDF, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And I'm like, wow, but there was one thing above all else, and we're not going to give the woman's last name. I think it's safe to give her first name because she actually wrote about this. And she joined the Facebook group and wrote about this in the Facebook group. As a matter of fact, I'm so intrigued by this woman. I'm having a consult with her on me. I said, I want
really,
I want to give you a consult. I want to have a consultation because I'm overly impressed with you and your honesty. And her name is Wendy.
Wendy, and you're talking about show 313. That's number 313 of Mike Rowe's podcast.
Yeah.
So it's the one that's, depending on when you hear this, either currently out or was just the one that was currently out.
It's last week. By the time you hear this, is going to be go back 1 week.
Right. So I have the email that she sent you, and I'm going to read it.
Okay.
Okay. Dear Vinny, I just heard you on The Way I Heard It this morning. I am the lady that hated you last year when you were on the podcast and messaged Mike and told him he was fat shaming us. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I really enjoyed you this morning. Last year, I was not in a place to hear what you had to say without letting it hurt my feelings. But the message did hit. I started a low-carb diet shortly after the podcast, and I lost 50 pounds. After hearing you this morning, I realized I needed to start following you, and I'm probably doing some things the wrong way. I'm on Ozempic. So I will watch your documentaries and find your web pages. When I save money for a consult, I'll let you know. Anyway, thank you, Wendy. And you're giving her a free one?
Yeah. Why not?
That's great. What a great email.
Yeah, look, I mean, the woman, I get it. If you hear this in the wrong way or you catch it at the wrong time, I get it. The truth hurts. And I also understand that I don't have much of a bedside manner. I just don't. Here's the truth. Take it, leave it. I don't know what else to do. I don't have time to hold hands, so to speak.
But that's the thing. Your version of being curt compared to, like, when we discussed Jillian Michaels, you are the nicest human being on the planet, and you go out of your way not to make people feel ashamed because it doesn't help. It doesn't work. So it was really, really quite amazing to hear someone say, it wasn't you. I just wasn't in a place where I could hear this. I wasn't ready, and I didn't like the message. It's not that I didn't like you. I didn't like the message at that time.
Yeah. I think she was probably more upset with Mike because she's a big fan of Mike. I mean, she didn't know who I was. I was just the next guy on Mike's podcast.
Right.
And
she probably felt a little betrayed by this person having you on when she didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, probably. And so that's the deal.
Wow.
And I'm excited. Right after we finish, Gina and I, folks, we do podcast 2 in a row. And after the second podcast, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be talking to Wendy and seeing if I can get her off of Ozempic and everything else. Yeah.
That is so great. Now, let me ask you, because I've known you for a million years, and I had a consult, but I wouldn't say it was probably your typical consult meeting for 4 hours at Starbucks. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, and we didn't prepare this. We're not doing a commercial for consults. I want to know, what does a consult look like with you? Like, what do you start talking first? Do you ask them about themselves first? Like, what is the map of a consult?
Well, it takes a minute, it takes a couple of minutes because sometimes, and this is going to sound weird because I'm just a regular dude, but there are because you can be a little starstruck, people are stumbling over their words. So I always tell them this: look, you guys know a little bit about me through either my documentaries or the podcast or Adam Carolla show, something. I don't know anything about you. And so let's start with, I said, pretend you're putting together a dating site, height, age, weight, were you an athlete in high school? Were you a book nerd? Just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
So I can kind of have a feeling. When I was young, living in New Orleans, I dated the 6 and 10 o'clock anchor woman, and people would walk up to her in the drugstore and grocery store, or whatever, and start in mid conversation. And I was like, Len, did you know that guy or that woman? She's like, no. But what you have to understand is I'm in their house every evening, twice every evening.
Exactly.
So they feel like they know me.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes people might start in mid conversation and I have no idea, so hey, you need to go back. We haven't met before. Right. So, as a matter of fact, there's a doctor out there, Dr. Ovadia, he does consults. He'll look at your blood numbers and the whole thing. He's a heart surgeon. And he told me, people have told me, he didn't tell me this, he gives people a Vinnie discount if I send them from me to them. And I said to him, wow, really? You're giving a Vinnie discount? And he said, yeah, because you've already warmed them up to the first 20 minutes of what I'm going to talk to them about.
Right.
I can just go right
so
into the particulars. So if you go to Philip Avadia and you've come through me first, he gives a discount, because he can save an hour.
I was going to say he's essentially saving at least a half hour. So he's giving that back to you.
Yeah. So, we're all out there just to help people. And that's the way a consult starts. You and I knew each other before the consult. We knew at least, we were in the same studio at that point, maybe 20 times.
And you had at least been vetted by somebody that I knew and respected. So even though I wasn't down with your game, because that's not the world I come from, how many points is this popcorn? I still was very intrigued because I knew that people I respected were listening to you.
What is the Show Me State? Is that Minnesota? The Show Me State?
That's Missouri.
Missouri. I thought you were from Missouri and you're from Kansas, one state over.
Kansas, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, wow, she was sitting there and I was cutting and you weren't bleeding. And, I was like, come on, Gina, I'm laying down some tracks. Start choo-chooing. Let's go.
Yeah. A man who comes into my life at this age from my background and says it's all about high fat and you got to get out of the Diet Coke love. I thought, you know what? God love you. Maybe you just have one of these metabolisms where you can eat and drink anything, but don't force this on the rest of us who have to try really hard. And and then right after our 4-hour meeting, and I was finally like, okay. You say, hold on, I got to go back to the counter. And you got more heavy whipping cream and put in your coffee. And I said, I'm out again. I'm out. And then it took another 5 minutes because it's like being deprogrammed. It's like those deprogrammers after you're out of a cult. I grew up in the how many points is this candy bar? And I don't have enough points left for the rest of the day, but I'm just constantly battling the same 12 pounds. And you coming in with, high fat and protein and, even though that rice is brown, don't make it good for you. It just wasn't computing.
Yeah. And we talked a lot about your mom. Gina came from the traditional American Jewish, Jappy kind of existence where
Pico.
Yeah. Mom did the, counting points and Weight Watchers. And I think you told me you were on your first diet, you were like 6. Am I exaggerating?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I was always for whatever reason, I was a very skinny, spindly kid.
Yeah.
But I grew up watching it. I knew everything. I knew how it's supposed to be. I know what we're supposed to look like. I know how we're supposed to eat, air quotes. And so I already had the diet culture deeply infused in me before I quote unquote needed it. So by the time I got to college and put on the freshman however many and then never got it off, then I was like, oh, I can reach into my bag of tools for my entire childhood and start wrestling with this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And there you were, right? Just,
Yeah.
battling your way into obesity. And luckily you never got into having to take drugs for it or anything else. And
No. And yeah, I mean, I think I would say like 30 pounds overweight. And that's a lot. I know there are people on Lifetime and TLC that's like my 8,000-pound sisters. But when you're not used to carrying an extra 20, 30 pounds, it changes you. And it changes trust me when I say it changes your blood work. Because I thought I was moving and grooving just fine, and I was not.
And you don't have the kind of body that wants to hang, because you don't have the big wide birth and hips. You have a very slender build, and
Yeah.
you're very tall. And for the audience that doesn't know, Gina had, would you call it a disformity? What would you call what was going on with your boobs?
I would say I had 2 amputations.
Yeah,
I had
they
a
just kept
major
growing. And folks, guys, not in a good way. This woman had back
I mean,
trouble.
you could have charged tickets to see this. And it's common. I mean, it's called something horrible. Like, nose jobs are rhinoplasty because that's what we want to be associated with. This is something like ginormoboobitis. I mean, it's like not a technical term that's very cute.
Yeah.
And so let's just put it this way. For every woman who's ever had to wrestle and fight with their insurance company to pay for this, mine happily threw the cash at me. That's how bad it was.
And I know, I remember this from it. They can only take so much mass. And, Gina could have used more mass taken, right? Is that accurate?
Now my boobs are just big. They're just big. Before they were gigantic. So now they're just big boobs. But they couldn't, everyone, if you're eating, put down your fork so I can say this real quick or skip ahead 10 seconds. The smaller you go, the more risk you are of losing your nipple, because there are like 4 ventricles, I think, of blood that supply your nipple, and you already have to get rid of a couple just to do the surgery. And if you keep going, you keep cutting them, then your nipple could fall off. So this is as safely small as they could take me. I'm very happy because don't forget, girl gets a lift with the reduction. So I'm pretty happy.
Well, all the way around. I mean, you look like a different person from back then, right?
And just the fact that I can literally look down and see my feet, which I couldn't do because
she's not being funny about that. There was no way you could have seen your feet before.
No. And it gave me such a complex because, again, I still struggle with the shtetl weight, I call it, with the peasant stock weight. And it's still a pain in my ass, but I know what to do. And looking down and not being able to see, and like a big shirt, it went out and it went down. So I had such a complex about the way I looked anyway, because I knew the objects appeared larger than they were. So at least now I feel like I'm working with something reasonable.
I remember a few times on Twitter when people would go, well, Gina Grad's fat. And I wanted to, I just said, you're an asshole and I'm blocking you. But I wanted to give them an explanation. It's like, no. That's her boob sticking out a mile from her body. And she's wearing a tent over that. Omar, the tent maker, made her t-shirt, but she's not fat. That's just these things that were going out of proportion.
And also, just on a side note, like, not you. Go fuck yourself. Like, who the fuck are you with a cartoon avatar who, hides in his little corner typing about like people that you consider celebrities? Trust me, I ain't. So I'm allowed to live in whatever motherfucking body I want to live in. And also, thank you, Vinny, for helping me live in a more comfortable body.
Yeah. Well, you're doing all the hard work. I just make suggestions. And your husband, by the way.
Oh, God.
But he's athletic to begin with. Now he just looks like a Ken doll.
Yes, he's always been very athletic, but when he was carrying more weight than he quote unquote should have been, and eating, the Totino's pizza rolls, which now you've tried, or the Gino's pizza roll, and all the crap, all the stuff I made you try, stuff that was happening in this house.
Really?
And he was still running and basketball, but he felt like dog shit. He was so sore. He was so tired. His joints hurt so bad. And now that's not happening. Now he's not in pain.
Yeah, look, it makes all the difference in the world. And, just thinking about Wendy, we started this episode talking about this woman. She says in the thing, she goes, I'm still on Ozempic. My only goal in life right now is to get Wendy off of Ozempic. Not by having her stop it before she needs to, but I want her A1Cs to go below 5.6, where a doctor just goes, Wendy, you don't need this drug or any other drug anymore.
I will be curious, not that it's any of my business, so I'm sure I won't find out, but I will be curious on your behalf if she's on it for diabetes or if she's on it for weight loss, since in many situations you can get it for both now. So it might be a choice. It might not be for diabetes, because, that is, I believe Wegovy is the brand name that's now available for weight loss, and Ozempic on generic. So it'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, well, look, I have no idea until I do the consult later on today, but
Yeah.
you got to assume, I don't know how old she is. I do know she was in the 300s. Did she mention that, right? So
No.
usually with that, the blood sugars are way high. You don't get into that kind of weight until, without being type 2 diabetic. And
she's not trying to. No, go ahead.
No, that's it. Go on.
Well, she's not like a quote unquote average weight and trying to be pushed into red carpet celebrity underweight Ozempic.
I think that Wendy wants to be healthy. And
I see.
Someone sent me a longer post that she, I think, wrote on the Facebook group where she talks about this. She's like, look, I just want to be healthy. And, I got to be honest. I know I come off as a tough guy and everything else. I get a little emotional about this stuff because I have family members. I mean, my mom fought her weight her entire life. Now in her 80s, I got her down to 125 pounds. And she's been there ever since, COVID. I went home to take care of, she broke her shoulder and her knee. I still don't know how in the hell she did that. One fall and she broke her left knee and the right shoulder. It's like, did you bounce? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was doing like forensic, like she's sitting in a lounge chair. My dad's sitting in his lounge chair. They have his like Edith and Archie. They sit
Archie,
chair, except they have identical chairs. And so I was there taking care of it. And I'm doing like forensics. It's like, all right, Mom, you tripped. Which foot caught the carpet? And she goes, I don't know. I say, but your left knee hit first. So you could have hit with your right knee and you would have gone down to your left side.
Right.
How did you come back over in the other direction and land on your, I don't know what the hell she did.
That we're going to need like a forensic expert, because that's very infuriating not to understand how that happened. She would have had to do a back somersault. Like, did she hit her shoulder and then keep going?
It's funny you should say that. I kept telling her, it's like, did you do a triple Lindy? And then I would pull up the scene from the
back to school.
Back to school. And I say, Ma, all right, now watch watch Rodney Dangerfield go off of this platform and then hit a springboard. Did you do something like that?
Or were you just walking from the kitchen?
Or did you fall and when you got up to brush it off, you fell again? What?
Your dad doesn't know?
No, it was like they got tired of sitting around for COVID. So they decided, hey, we're going to put these masks on. This is before the shot or anything was available.
Oh.
We're going to go, because in Louisiana, like California, you guys really shut down restaurants. In Louisiana, they wink, shut down restaurants. They were like, we need to go eat. We need to get out of this house. We've been in this house for months. Right.
Good for them.
So they're eating.
If they didn't shut them down here, the city shut it down for you.
Right. In Louisiana, it was like you go eat wherever you want, whatever. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
we're closed. It was like speakeasies. You walk in,
Right.
all the parking lots are full, and they got closed signs on them. And so I they decide to go eat one night, and my mom goes to the bathroom, and she doesn't come back. And my dad's sitting there, and like, so he finally gets up and he walks towards where the bathrooms are, and he sees like there's people huddled around and the whole thing. He's like, "Oh my god, it must be my wife," and it was that kind of thing. And
Oh,
yeah,
how
and
scary.
I'm going to tell you the scary. You want to know the scarier part? And this is, I'm always down on doctors. It sounds like I'm down on doctors, but the doctor wanted to put a pin in her knee. She broke the patella. They wanted to put a pin in her knee, and they wanted to do a reverse shoulder replacement on her shoulder. And I said, well, wait a minute. I need to see these x-rays. So they got me the x-rays. There's a hairline fracture in the kneecap. And there's a, they kept saying that this is the reason I asked for x-rays. She crushed her shoulder. I said, okay, that's not a medical term. What did she do? Is it still out of place? Oh, no, Vinny, you understand. She crushed it. Okay, send me the x-rays. So if this is the ball and this is the joint, okay, she had like a Mercedes crack on the outside of the ball here.
Okay. Okay.
Where I'm looking here at the x-ray, there's still a lot of area, which means there's a lot of cartilage in there, and she's fine. So
it's not crushed up against each other.
Right. She didn't like crumble the joint.
Right.
So I got on the phone with the doctor one night. Serena was sitting there. I had it on speakerphone. I was still here. And I said, Doc, the knee, why are you putting a pin? Well, a woman of her age will go in, we'll do a surgery, we'll put a pin, and then we'll put her in a cast. I said, I'm looking at the x-ray. I see a hairline fracture. It doesn't seem to be separated or disjointed. He goes, no, it's not. I said, so can you just cast it? Can we just cast that and it'll heal? And the doctor said to me, and I'm quoting, I suppose we can do that. I said, okay, so that's one surgery you're not doing. Now let's talk about the shoulder. And I said, I'm looking at the x-ray and I see like a Mercedes symbol crack on the outside of the humeral ball. And I see good ligament there. I don't see any kind of stress on the ligaments or anything else. And he goes, are you a doctor? I said, no, I'm just a guy that had a lot of shoulder problems. He goes, so you're not a doctor? I went, no, I'm not a doctor. And he goes, trust me, if your mother does not get this reverse shoulder, she will never get mobility back in her arm. That arm is going to become a frozen joint and she'll never do anything ever again. And I said, I tell you what, Doc, I have the x-rays right here. I'm going to send them up to my friend over at UW, University of Washington, and let him take a look at them. And I told him the doctor's name. It was the doctor who did my surgery, the guy who invented the Riemann run. And I said, I'm going to just send it up to that guy. And he goes, how do you know him? And this is where I lied. I said, well, he did my Riemann run. He goes, oh, you had the Riemann run? I said, yeah. And he goes, how are you doing with that? I said, I'm doing fine. And I said, I'm gonna send it up. Just have him look at it. And I said, you know, after my Riemann run, we became friends. We climbed mountains together because this doctor actually climbs glaciers.
Right.
So just give me a day or so before you do anything. Just like that, about face. Because, you know, we could take a look-see. We'll take a look-see with your mom.
On second thought, yeah.
Let's just give it a couple of days. We'll do some rehab. I got in my car. I bought this laptop that I'm still using because I needed to do podcasts while I was down there. I went to the store. I bought this laptop. I got in the car the next day. I drove to Louisiana. I got my mom out of the hospital. I did rehab at the house. My mom has full motion in that shoulder. No problem. No surgery. No nothing. They were going to do 2 surgeries on this woman.
And how old?
She was, let's call it 3-4 years ago. It was like 79, 80.
Oh, she needs 2 surgeries like she needs a hole in the head.
And you know, she has heart trouble. The last thing she needs to be is knocked out twice.
Oy.
Right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Can
You
you
are
imagine?
an angel.
Can you imagine? Are you a doctor? No, no, I'm not a doctor. But my wife played one in a movie once.
That's true. Does that count?
Yeah. But that's what
Oof.
happens. That's what happens.
So
If
you're not
you're
a
an advocate,
doctor. You just have common sense.
I was looking at, because I've seen so many shoulder x-rays of my own shoulder and dealt with it for so many years, that I was looking at a joint. My mom was a librarian. I was looking at a freshly minted joint. I was looking at that going, I wish I had that joint. Right? Because I mean, she still had full mobility. There was
Right.
surgery.
Well, thank God. And that's such an important thing to have an advocate when you're either older, or it doesn't matter when you're in a hospital situation, because it doesn't necessarily mean you're Vinny and you have to pull rank on the doctor to save your mom. But it does help to have an advocate to go, whoa, 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 whoa. What are we actually talking about here? So thank God you did that.
Look, and let's give this doctor some credit. When I took my mom for a visit, he did something most doctors wouldn't do. He admitted, he goes, look, I'm going to be honest, I was wrong. And I'm sitting there going, well, not many other times you've been wrong.
Yeah.
Just did the surgery. Just did the
Wow.
surgery. And I'm told by my brother, my brother's good friends with another doctor who lives next door to him, who's good friends with this guy. He even got that doctor to call me to say, look, back off. And I said, no, I'm not backing off. I'm looking at a perfectly good joint. Perfectly.
So they were ganging up on you.
Yeah, they had my brother call me, you know, Vin, look, this and that. And then my brother's friend called the doctor and it's like, Vin, you need to back off and the whole thing. And that's when
Wow.
let me send this to my buddy Fred. Let's see what's doing. Let's see what's doing. And when he was like, oh my God, that was that. Folks, Gina Grad is on one of my favorite new podcasts. I like most of the episodes. Every now and then there's one I don't like. We will be talking next week. I heard one yesterday where Gina was an influencer at a party. And I want to talk a little bit about that in the next episode, because that was intriguing.
Oh God, I got to recommend you for this. They would love you.
Not recommend.
Love you.
Do not
Why?
recommend, because you know me around people. It doesn't go well.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Then I'd have to fly out there. Okay. I'm excited about asking you about this next week.
Oh, sure. Great. And I have a couple of questions for you as well. But until then, yeah, Vinny's referring to the Los Angeles Magazine's official podcast, The Brian and Gina Show. You can hear that anywhere you hear podcasts. And I do videos every single day on the Los Angeles Magazine YouTube channel. I have some that are about the news. I have some that are very embarrassing stories about myself, and all stories and all comments are welcome. So please like and subscribe to both.
I keep this on my desk.
Aww,
this sits on my desk because it puts a smile on my face every day. Right here. My Extra Mom by Vinnie Grad.
Yeah. He's holding up my book, My Extra Mom. It's about being a stepmom. It's for kids, to introduce them to having a new family member in the house. Thank you so much for plugging that, Vinny. The audiobook is coming this summer, and My Extra Dad will come soon after that. And thank you for remembering.
I'm writing the Italian version of it called My Extra Guma. You don't know what a guma is, do you?
I watched enough Sopranos to know that they all have gumas.
Yeah, apparently I'm a broken dago because I don't have a guma. Yeah.
You better not, or she will slap you into next week.
She will kill me. Folks, don't look up guma. You don't want to know what that is.
Yeah.
At any rate, you know what to do. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, please go to VinnieTortorich.com. Click through the banner, bookmark it, use it every time. That's how we keep this show free for people like Wendy to find. So go check that out. Also, the PDF. Go check out the NSNG ebook. You can go to vinnietortorich.com. It pops up. I did a pop-up for the first time. So you can get that ebook. People
good.
loving that. And I do promise I'm going to start sending out newsletters probably 3 times a month, once every 10 days, with just little snippets of information people can use. It won't be selling to you guys or anything, but people are saying, man, if we got more information from you, it's like, why not give a little free information here and there? So that's going to be coming also. So go check out everything there. On behalf of the beautiful Miss Gina Grad with her freshly minted boobs, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living.